Hello, and thank you for looking into the budget management template from Lost Sheep Advisory. My name is Brian Alderman. My team and I at Lost Sheep Advisory built the budget management template that you're looking at or have purchased. We're glad to walk you through getting started with that template. Once you've purchased this template, you will see it show up in your template library within your Bubble application. And all you need to do to actually get started is click the Start from Template button, which will ask you to create a new app. I'm going to call mine Template Budget Demo March. Um, Name it what you will. And that will go ahead and create the new app. While that is creating the background, I do just want to reference that everything we go through here in this video today is also available in more detail at lostsheep.dev/template budget management. On our site here, you can see on our main page here, if you scroll down to plugins, there's this budget management template, and you can go in and see all the steps we're going to walk through here today in the video. Also, my team and I are available. If you get stuck at all here, feel free to drop us an email at info@lostsheep.dev. We'll help you out however we can via email there. All right, so we've got a brand new template created in here. I can go through the application assistant. It'll talk to me about fonts, talk to me about some basic bubble things, colors, stylings, update those if you want. When it gets to the plugin page, one important thing to do is go ahead and select this API connector up at the top. We are going to need it for this application. If you didn't do this, you can always come back and do it later. I'll show you how to do that. And then I'm just going to hit Get Started Building. I can close out that page since I'm starting from a template. We have all the pieces that you're going to need here. So I've gone ahead, I've purchased the template. The next thing to do is go over to settings, and there's a couple things we need to do here. The free plan is not going to be sufficient for this template because you need to pay for a couple plugins and use some additional logic that Bubble paid plans require. So you can go ahead and update it to whatever plan is appropriate for you. I'm going to change it to my agency plan here just for the sake of this demo. You most likely will need to go through the update plan flow instead. But as long as you're on a paid plan, this will work well. The next thing we are going to do is go ahead and take a look at our plugin page. So on our plugin page, a couple plugins come with this template. Two of them in particular need, well, three of them, but two of them for now need particular attention. The first one is the Apex charts. This is for all the charts that will display on the application. You'll need to go ahead and subscribe to this template. And that, I believe the current pricing on that's $9 a month or something like that. And then the other one is this Plaid template, Plaid up to date and supported. You'll need to come in and make sure that you resubscribe to that template or to that plugin as well. This Plaid plugin is what will allow you to connect banks to your application. And the next thing we need to do is go ahead and configure this. So you'll notice a bunch of fields here under plugins, Plaid, all of these, and we need to fill all of these out. The way we're going to do that is by going into your Plaid dashboard. So if you haven't set up a Plaid account yet, go ahead and do so at plaid.com. And once you get into your Plaid dashboard, you'll be able to go over here to Team Settings and Keys, and you'll see your client IDs and secrets. And you can just go ahead and copy the client ID, and it will come in here into all of the fields that say client ID. Right? So there's a bunch of them. There's two at the top and two at the bottom for development. And then you'll go get your secret. I'm not going to, well, I can get my sandbox secret. So your sandbox secret is the environment that you'll probably want to start out with Plaid. You can update this later. We talk about that in the docs. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And you can go put that secret key in everywhere where it says secret. So there are, I believe, 4 of them. 1, 2 at the top, and 2 at the bottom. Then there's all of these fields that say environment. And for now, we're just going to take the word sandbox and put it in all of these fields that say environment. I know there's a lot of them. We're going to need all of these. Now, later on, so Sandbox is test data. It's just mock data for your bank account and bank information. It's the best way to get started with your Plaid journey. When you're ready to move to real data, either with Plaid's development environment, which is some free connections to get you started with your application, or Plaid's production environment, which is real data paid to Plaid and ready for the real world, you'll just go ahead and change your secret key to whatever the appropriate environment from that Plaid dashboard is, and you'll change your environment to either development or production, depending on what you're using. Usually, I always leave all these ones that end in dev as sandbox and with my sandbox key, and I'll only change my production keys to either development or production here, depending on what you're doing. If you have questions about that, feel free to reach out. And the lostsheep.dev site has more information about it. So we've gone ahead, we've configured this plugin with all of my necessary keys. The next thing we need to do is to go set up some things in Plaid Action. So I'm going to go up here and I'm just customizing the template for me. That's what we're doing here. So these are steps when you've bought the template that you'll need to do. So I'm going to go find this function Plaid Actions reusable element. And I'm going to go into workflows. And there's two places in here. Under add account mode, there's a create link token, and you'll want to change your application name to whatever your app name is. This will show up to users when they link their bank account. So I'm going to call mine Budget Manager App Demo. So that's one place where that happens. And then under the new Plaid link, there's another one of these, Budget Management App Demo. And then there's actually a third one under repair mode, Budget Management App Demo. So you'll just want to make sure that that name is updated everywhere where it needs to be in your app. The next step we need to do, now that that is done, is to go back into, or is to go to a page here called OAuth page. An OAuth page, all you need to do once you're here is hit preview. And you'll see that your application starts previewing. It may ask you for a username and password. If it does, you can find those in your application settings page. Once it does that, you'll see up here, there's a URL. It's the URL that contains the name of the application that you set up a couple minutes ago, and then has OAuth page in it. Go ahead and just copy that. And then we're going to go back to our Plaid dashboard, go to API. Under allowed redirect URIs, we need to configure that. I have a bunch in here. You probably won't. But just go ahead and hit add new URI and paste in that value that you just copied. It'll be something like your application name .bubbleapps.io/version test/OAuth page. If there's anything like debug mode at the end of it, you can just get rid of that. And you can go ahead and add another one now too that is the same URL but without the version test. So that's what I just did here. So I removed that. Again, this will be your application name, not the budget demo March. Right? It'll be your application name. Or if you've set up a custom URL already, it'll be your custom URL/OAuth page. Right? So this is just telling Plaid what your app will look like, which is necessary to allow different permissions to work. And once you hit save there, Plaid will ask you for your password. And that will save that data. So again, you're just looking for this URL of the OAuth page is the key thing to be looking for. And you can, again, just get to that by going to OAuth page in your editor and hitting preview. The next thing we need to do is to go set up some things about our API. So let's go over to the API tab in Settings and API. All right, so here under the Settings and API page, a couple things to check. First off, you need to make sure that your backend workflows are enabled, so this should be checked. Your data workflow your data API also needs to be enabled, so this should be checked. And the Plaid transaction data type should also be checked here. This is going to allow us to create transactions quickly into your database. The last thing you need to do on this page is generate a new API token. Give it a name. Go ahead and copy that private key. This is a secret key that is administrative access to your application, so make sure you keep this safe. Don't really store it outside your application. This is going to go, we just copied it, and we're going to go over to the plugin page, find the API connector. If this isn't here, you can go to add plugins and add your API connector plugin, Bubbles API connector, and that should have the data API showing up here. Once I'm in there, expand it, and then go ahead and replace everything after bearer in both of these fields with the token that you just copied. Once you deploy and go live, you may have to update this live token to be a live token. I'll leave that for you, but for now, just replacing it in both of these places should work. So after the word bearer, there's a space, and then that token I just copied. And you'll see down here, there's a create transactions setup. And the last thing you need to do here is in that content type field, go ahead and just type in text slash. And once I have done that, we should be ready to go. So let's go ahead and test out how this works. I can go into my preview. So I can just go ahead and preview my application from any page here. If I went to the index page and hit preview, right, I'm previewing my application, and we can go ahead and go through our sign up flow. So I can just hit sign up and type in your information. Again, this is test data. I'm in version test, so none of it's going to be real. I'm just going to set up a quick account to test with. That'll sign me up. It takes me into my dashboard. I don't have any accounts created yet, so I can go to the accounts page and hit add accounts. And this will launch the Plaid flow, and I'll be able to connect an account. I'm going to pick Chase. This is going to open up in another window that you won't be able to see. Oh, I guess maybe you can see it in the demo. Wasn't sure if my recording screen would go over there or not. So I can pick a couple of accounts here and hit continue. And then it will take me back. Let me make sure my recording wound up back on the right tab here so that you can see what's going on. And it will take you back here and tell you that you've successfully linked your account. And once I hit continue there, you'll see that my accounts that I just connected will start showing up in the application. You've successfully linked bank accounts. You'll see transactions start coming in here after a minute or two. And sometimes in Sandbox, this can take a minute or might need other banks. There they go. So you see the transactions starting to come in here. They'll all get created. And you are off to the races with your budgeting template. So you've got transactions flowing in from Plaid, and now you can embark on customizing this template however fits your particular needs. But you've got a working Plaid flow with transactions and accounts coming in. Hopefully this is helpful to get you started setting up the template. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out at info@lostsheep.dev. And thank you again for purchasing this template from us.